Children are our future. As a society, we want to ensure the best possible outcomes for our youngest and most vulnerable citizens. But how do we put those global sort of societal ideals into the nitty-gritty level at the policy level that interacts with our day-to-day life? My research focuses on the child welfare system and how there are too many children in placement today as a result of not intervening to support families before they reach crisis. We can see structural forces at work by the disproportionate representation of Aboriginal children and the fact that there's a significant amount of low-income families. That neglect drives a majority of these cases, but that's driven by poverty. So how do we intervene early to help these families? To do that, I'm going to take you across a journey from stakeholder interviews from the social workers and community providers that work with those families in BC to help inform how they navigate the system, to cross-jurisdictional research in US and Australia that shows what those jurisdictions have done, and possibly models that we can import to Canada to help fix the situation. So what I gleaned from the frontline workers was that a lot of our services for families are not user-informed. They're not based from the perspective of the marginalized family, and as such, these families lack a voice, and they may not be accessing due to barriers such as stigma and the dual role of practitioners. What I found also was that nurses were particularly trusted, and that nurse family visitation programs have been found to be effective in the United States and even in Ontario, and that BC is currently looking into such a program. And this program, with having scientific validation through various randomized controlled trials and having so many components that families want, including long-term relationships, trust between practitioners, a reduction of that dual role, as well as integrated service that connects them to services in their community through the nurses. It seems like it has the best of all the possible worlds. But wait, there's one final piece, and that's where public policy comes in. Essentially, just because you have a great scientific intervention does not mean that it's going to be implemented. There's a lot of other things to consider, a lot of stakeholder interests to reconcile. So what I did was a multi-criteria analysis that looks at the government and public objectives such as equality and justice and integrates them with administrative complexity and budgetary cost. And to really build a case for why this is a sound investment into society, both from a social justice perspective, but also an economic perspective. After all, investing in children is investing in our future, and public policy is all about building a brighter future. Thank you.